Hi collectors, time for another Mad item review. So in this case we'll go through the Journal of Madness. So the Journal of Madness was a fanzine created in the 90s and they had a fair few different issues, so it seemed to be quite popular at the time. So these won't be in any particular order, but I'll go through the ones I have. So it's issue 6, Spring 99, the Bob Clark interview. I believe all the front covers were original. And I believe actually Tim was selling some of these recently. It's cool. I've got one of those, so I covered that in a separate video. This is one of the holy grails of Mad. These particular things came out in Australia as part of a show bag, and I noticed recently that there was some photos of the sellers that actually used to have big billboards of Mad actually on the vans that used to sell these show bags. It'd be really cool if any of those still exist. They're talking about here the first version of Mad, but as you would know, the first version of Mad in Australia actually had in Australia. And the Warra Warra, that's a book that has a version of Alfred on it. I don't really think it's the true Alfred, but anyway, it's part of Alfred's story, of course. Right, this is a subscription renewal notice. Time to resubscribe. It's got a stamp there. The Al Feldstein interview. This was actually part of a Mad Officer's souvenir, which I'll cover in a different video. That's in one of those. Okay, issue 5, the Sergio Aragonés interview. Another resubscription notification. Holy Grail straitjacket, of course. Another piece on Jerry Tolliver. And this was part of a kit that was given out after one of the Mad trips. There were a limited amount of these produced, and they're a pretty rare item, but you can actually get these. It wasn't only like one or two of them made. And Greer, of course, in the back cover. We have the Tom Koch interview, issue 8, with Harvey Kurtzman lecture. Mad Freaks was another fanzine that was created. I don't have any of those at present, but it was another cool one to collect. It's actually a bit rarer than these as well. Kurtzman Will Elder. Okay, issue 9, the Al Jaffe interview. Got Al there. And issue 11, the Lost Bollywood autobiography, Monty Wolverton, which I believe was Basil's son, Bill Morrison, who of course is now the editor of Mad, and the EC Reunion. We have some Bollywood on the back cover there. And last but not least, Lucky 13, the Dave Berg interview. That's interesting. I'll just go and grab a magazine to show you something about that particular picture there. So that piece of art was actually used on the front cover of an Australian big book, the second look at Mad's Dave Berg. It looks slightly different there, but I'm pretty sure it's the same picture up the top. Actually, they're slightly different. What this could have been is this was preliminary art, because what Australian Mad did was actually use preliminary art on some of these covers. The first one of these, which is on madtrash.com, I put up a listing for that because there wasn't one there already. It actually had a preliminary piece of artwork on there. And you can tell here and here, these are slightly different. So what I actually think is potentially this is the preliminary artwork and this is the original final artwork, probably used for a different thing. But it's quite interesting to think about the history of international Mads and how they use the artwork in different ways. You can see there the fingers are slightly different as well. Oh, actually, as I said before, that's the piece I was talking about. So this is the final artwork, and on the Australian version of this particular magazine, they brought it out as a book. This may have been a book, I'm not sure. It actually had the preliminary version of this, not this exact artwork. It was a little bit rougher. I'll probably put a link to the original for that in the description so that you can see what I'm talking about. There's a bunch of his covers. In a future video, I'll actually cover some of the preliminary artwork of Dave Berg's that I own. I own the preliminary of that one, and one other that doesn't appear on here. Anyway, that was a bit of a long video, but hopefully you got something out of that. As always, if you'd like to subscribe, please do so. And if you could put in a comment about the types of videos that you'd like to see in the future, that'd be good as well, because the channel really hasn't had traction, and I think it's mainly because the MAD community is quite small, because I think some of the stuff that I've got is quite rare, so people would get something out of it. But anyway, if you can pop in a comment, that would be good, and we'll catch you next time.